Deja vu, let's try again today. So we are trying again to go to the IRS office. Hopefully today happens better. I hope they're not closed for Valentine's Day. However, it's not really nice that we have to go to the IRS office on Valentine's Day, but whatever, it's okay. As long as they're not closed, I'll be happy and we can get this done and over with, especially since I'm giving up another leg day. I mean, granted, I really want to get it in. Maybe I'll make it a home workout, although I hate home workouts for leg day. I don't know, if I'm determined enough, I'll get it in one way or another. Yeah, and it's mostly because I don't go heavy enough. And at home, I feel like I waste a lot more time because you got to feel that burn. And if I don't feel it, then I feel like I didn't have a good workout. And then it was one of those, I should have just waited for tomorrow and just went to the gym and did it properly instead of half-assing it today. You know, it's more because of that reason that I don't like to do home workouts. For leg day specifically. Upper body day, totally cool with it. I also wanted to talk about something since today is Valentine's Day, and a lot of times holidays and things like this can bring people down, and it all comes down to expectations. Something we've learned in our relationship but has proven great in life too in general is not to have expectations in the regards of a lot of things like movies and social media and, you know, fake celebrities that pretend to live this glorious life. They paint this picture of a good relationship is dozens of roses and gifts and surprises and always going like way beyond to show the person you love them, and if you don't do that, then that means you don't love them. And movies just distort like the way you think a relationship should be. It becomes a fantasy, and let's be real, relationships are not fantasies. Relationships are, you need to work on them constantly. If you want something out of a relationship, you should be reflecting that or showing it. Let's say, for instance, I want my husband to tell me he loves me more. So what should I do? I should tell him I love him more, and eventually he'll tell me. Same thing for kisses. You want kisses more often, kiss your spouse first. Don't have expectations that they should kiss you and you don't have to do anything in return. That's one way to show what you want and get it in return. And this goes towards everything. Your kids, you know, there are some parents, and I'm speaking because I've seen this happen, and I know this certain person that expects their kids to be like doctors or, you know, really successful, and because they're not, they're frustrated and they're really upset and, you know, they're stressed out. And it's like, these expectations, you need to remove them. Whatever your kid chooses to become, you need to accept it. So it's not that I'm saying expectations are bad, because having expectations of yourself are great, but to have expectations of others, you don't have control over that. And your emotions will get hurt because of that. This might come off as weird, but my husband and I, we don't really get each other gifts like on holidays or birthdays. And it's more because if we really want something, we tell each other that we want it throughout the year and we'll get it for each other. But I never want to put pressure on him, just because it's my birthday you need to get me something, or just because it's Valentine's Day you need to get me something, because that pressure can be pretty difficult, you know, and you don't know what the other person wants, or then they end up getting you something that you really didn't want, and now you're upset that they spent the money on that, when it's like, you could have spent money on something I actually wanted. So communication is important. If you don't want him to spend, you know, $60 to $100 on roses, and you prefer, you know, I don't know, something else, then that's where communication happens. And for us, it's important that it's like, don't go wasting money on silly things. If I want something, I'll tell you I want it, or if you want to get me something, ask me and I'll tell you, you know. For us, it's about communication. But I'm gonna link a video about expectations in the description box, because it's a huge factor. I may not be expressing it the right way or explaining it the right way, but I know the video in the description will do it justice. And I think when you practice this, and when you start to understand not to expect so much, and you communicate with one another, things become much much easier and much more simple. I know some people are asking for relationship advice, and I mean, I don't know if we're qualified for that because we're not the typical couple. So giving someone relationship advice when they don't think the way we think is very difficult. Like, an example of a person would be somebody who's like, I love your relationship, you guys are so great, he treats you so well, how do you guys do this, you know? And then I'll tell them, but then I look at their life and they're dating a bunch of bad boys, you know, or guys that are not meant to last, and they know this, and it's like, you're never gonna find that person because you're actually not truly looking for that person. So relationship advice is very difficult to give. We can share what we do. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys or if it works for you guys. Every relationship will be different, but I can say that the number one thing that you all have to have is communication. And as long as you have communication, doesn't matter how your relationship is, or what type of people you are, or what you believe in, it'll work as long as you communicate with each other and you're on the same page.
And they would think that we are small.
They probably already think we're super weird. Which is okay, because we don't really mind. I mean, we're all happy. I'm happy, he's happy, baby Lila is happy. So we don't really, it's okay if you guys think we're crazy. It's your right, it's your opinion, you can think it. But I think communication is most important no matter what, because if you communicate, then you can figure out if this person is actually for you or not for you. But if you guys lie to each other all the time, 10 years later, you're like, you're not the person that I wanted. Yeah, well, you should have said something in the beginning and not wasted a decade with me.
We don't keep, like, our phones, they're open to each other.
Yeah, our phones have never been like, I have it password, no, it's like protected by my thumb, but it's protected by his thumb too, and that's just because Lila can get in there, and I don't want her leaving you guys some crazy gibberish comments, because she probably would and has. She uses his phone, and I think she's uploaded videos of herself on YouTube from his phone. This is how intelligent she is. So that's the only reason my phone is protected, but we always keep our phones out and available for each other. We're very trustworthy, I would say, towards one another. We have nothing to hide, and that has all been established in the beginning of our relationship. It's not easy, so I'll tell you now, like, finding a person that's worth cherishing like him is not easy, because you have to work at it in the beginning, and you have to figure out what you guys value, and what's more important. And if you're both aligned with the same values and thoughts, then you obviously move forward. But I can't say everyone's gonna find that on their first or second try. I had to switch devices because my phone was getting full. Now I have to carry this big old heavy camera. Anyways, another reason we don't give each other gifts is because we've always shared an account. So if somebody uses the card for something, I'm gonna know, and it says where, and I get notifications on my phone, hey baby, you went there? What did you get? So there's no surprising each other in that sense. There's other ways to surprise each other, but I think if you are more concerned about being spontaneous, that's up to you in a different way. You don't have to do it with material things. You can find clever ways to be spontaneous. Now we're just going into giving you guys advice, even though this is not really meant to be an advice type of thing. It's just a lot of people have been asking, and that's what we do. If it works for you, that's great. If it doesn't, that's also fine. It's perfectly fine. As I said, not everyone's going to share the same views as us or beliefs, or maybe they're more out there, you know, and that's perfectly fine as long as you're both on the same page and communicating. I don't think there's a problem with it. To each their own. But since it is Valentine's Day, I figured we would kind of talk about that vaguely and our weirdness. But anyways, we just arrived. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope we don't waste too much time here. It looks like a lot of cars this time. So we'll see what happens. They're open at least. We know now. Before it looked like a vacant place, kind of scary. Now there's a lot of cars, so they're definitely open. But let's hope it's a smooth in and out process. Okay, so everything was going smoothly. We got in really quick. We went into the office, Mas. There you go. We went into the office. We're like, oh look, no one's in there, no waiting time. Lady was actually really nice. And then she's like, yeah, we don't do that here. So where do you do it? So she writes down the office or the address for it. Now we're headed there. At first hubby's like, no, we're not doing this. I'm like, not giving another day to this. This gets done today, period. It needs to get done today. We're headed there now, so fingers crossed that it kind of goes just as smoothly. However, I feel like we should have known because it was going so smoothly, like there's something wrong. But anyways, we're headed there now. Fingers crossed that it's gonna be just as simple. But yeah, that's kind of an update. All right, so that was pretty simple, thankfully, because when we first walked in, they're like, oh, we only do by appointments. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? But she's like, but it's okay, I'll just print them for you anyways. So thankfully, she made our life a little bit easier. She printed them all for us. Now we need to go and drop them off to the loan officer, and hopefully everything is good from here on out. I'm happy we got it done all today, because I don't think I was ready to dedicate another day towards this. So we're gonna do that and then eat, and we'll see what happens the rest of the day. All in all, I'm happy it's done, but this is what I mean by these types of errands take up our day. It is 3:46, so it's already pretty late. Another thing, hubby and I were talking in the car and talking about expectations. And I guess I wanted to clarify, or kind of, I mean, having expectations is not bad. It's just once you allow them to overtake your life and your emotions, and you let them rule the way you should feel, that's when they become bad. Because technically, when he started saying good morning to everyone, how we met, he had expectations of people returning the good morning. Without those expectations, you know, he wouldn't have not met me because we already knew of each other. We just never took that step of speaking to one another. I guess we would have never, like, what is the word? We would have not been here. Without his good morning, we would not have been here. But it all started with like an expectation. So I guess it's not bad to have expectations. It's more what you choose to allow these expectations to make you feel when they're not fulfilled. And accept that they're not always going to be fulfilled. If that makes sense.
Mine was.
His was fulfilled, he said. Fulfilled. Fulfilled. Man, these make you speak so weird, and then when I say the word, it sounds so wrong. Huh?
The F's.
The F's. Yeah, the F's and the... I don't know. It was another one. I forgot. Whatever. Anyways, we're going to end the vlog here. We got to put baby Lila to sleep once we go upstairs, so we're just going to end here. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to go, baby. We're going to go, mommy. Anyways, we'll end it here. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.